hello everybody, this is Kira's show here. Now, when we last left off, I had just brought, everyone basically became blooded. Now, everyone is on the ship as they are going over exactly what happened. The Predators, they are well aware of what happened and who they encountered. As this Yaoja, they had no indication it was even supposed to be here. Basically, he used his stealthing technology to counteract their sensory technology. Now, even then, the planet's atmosphere and the density of, the entire land, that alone makes it hard to see and track prey. So this just made it even harder. Now, the Yaoja, they're trying to go over what to do. Before they would even continue, they would immediately begin by removing different parts of the xenomorphs they all killed and marking them all with a mark on the forehead. Now, everyone would do this and they would get their marks, as they are now all blooded. And they would be given ceremonious equipment, being given access to wrist blades and actual different tech. The gauntlets, certain knives, and smaller knives, but Deku, he would be given access to bigger things. With the fact that he has not earned his plasma caster yet, but he will need to do one thing to earn that, which is go on a very mass hunt, which he will do one day, but they don't see him as ready for it. Now, Deku, he was given access to a spear, and whenever they do hand over the spear, they ask him for his knife. He would hand it over as they would just connect the knife to the spear, and immediately watch as this basically forms one giant long blade. Deku is actually really intrigued as he will watch it retract and actually just start moving around. This is the most advanced thing he's ever seen, and it's just supposed to be a knife or a weapon. Now, Mei, she is barely able to hold her ecstatic as she is given her own wrist blades. Bakugo, he would just look at these, and the way his are made, they're different. They're blades, yes, but they also do wrap around his entire forearms, and they actually do come with, fingerless gloves. Which he actually finds a bit cool. Because not only does this give him a bit more control over the blades, and essentially being able to use them, but they also do come in the fact that he can use his quirk, if not stockpile sweat in these. Which he's really happy about and excited. Everyone else is looking at theirs, as Momo's kind of confused at what hers even do. She doesn't really know, but, Sue can basically find the fact that hers actually do have a heater to increase her internal body temperature, making it to where she can actually stay awake in somewhat colder climates. But that's just, 50 degrees to, 40. These aren't that advanced yet. Now then. Deku and everyone, they would be given proper time to mourn their fallen, ally, as they would have a feast, and in fact, raise a glass to him. Now, with that being said, this is whenever they would all just start asking Deku questions about this thing, as he's actually just standing up and actually practicing using it with both hands. Yes, he's used a bow staff before, but this is a bit different, as whenever he does slide a certain thing, this can actually pop into two different blades. And even then, he can reconnect them and actually just force a giant long one out. It's insane. This is actually the most, this is the best tool in his arsenal, basically. Vastly outdoing his wrist gauntlets. But he still does keep them. Now, everyone is actually talking, as eventually it would be getting late, and they would all return to their quarters on the reserve. Now, Everyone is trying to sleep, but Deku, he finds he's having his own trouble, as he would just get up and, well, start walking around. He actually does walk into their training room as he sees Mei just sitting down in the corner working on something while Bakugo, he's just throwing punches at a punching bag and actually just throwing kicks. Along with Momo, who's just, well, reading a book, and Sue's just somewhat tampering with her gauntlet. But they were basically at least instructed not to put in certain codes, because otherwise, kablam, or kablooey, you can say. Now, this is whenever Deku, before he can even speak, an alarm would go off. Everyone would immediately just pause as they would begin running to their rooms. They would all get their equipment ready as they suit up. As soon as they come to where the doorway is, they immediately hear it open as Deku, he immediately just brings out his wrist blades and he gets ready. Everyone is just standing there, and you even have Froppy, who's camouflaged herself on the ceiling, waiting for exactly what's happening. As the door opens, you see a Bad Blood run in. He's actually instructing them all to come on, we need to get out of here, as they're all confused. They would have had all their equipment on them that they needed, and they would have immediately just gotten out of there, just running, because clearly something is wrong. As they're doing this, they would actually find that, well, something else has been happening. The Bad Bloods, they've been getting tracked down, if not hunted. Now, this is whenever a predator with a, well, plasma caster, he would shoot that Bad Blood in the shoulder, actually taking him out. Now, Deku would have seen this, and he actually does somewhat, well, feel that, because his wound is still healing. But his body's just been working around and trying to adapt by basically just moving nerves away from that, so he can't really feel it. You can clearly tell he's still injured, but his body just isn't reacting to it. Now, Deku, he's still confused as everyone would just watch a predator walk into view. This predator is confused as he actually just tries speaking English. Deku, he's somewhat not listening to him as he would just start yelling at him in Yaoja, which throws him off even more. This predator would just start asking questions as Deku and everyone are just standing there somewhat like a deer in headlights, not knowing what to say or even do. The guy would ask them, well, this predator would just ask them exactly who they are as Deku, he would just take off his mask and the man would see the sign of the Blooded, realizing that these kids have been taken by the Bad Bloods. He's kind of confused at what to do because if he slaughters them, that's dishonorable. That's a kill without a challenge. So, he's not sure what to go on to. Now, this is whenever a Bad Blood would actually try coming up behind him as the Predator would just, well, he would dodge to the right, turning around, slicing him in the chest with his wrist blades, and killing him. Now, Deku and everyone are watching as these Predators just be taking out the Bad Bloods and just murdering them mercilessly, basically, because they're all criminals who escaped their sentencing. This is whenever Deku, he would be instructed by the Predator to basically make everyone come on board. Deku, he would have understood this, and he would just bring his hand up, as his blade would just retract. Now, as soon as that happened, Sue and everyone would just put away their weapons as she would decamouflage and come down from the ceiling, which somewhat confuses the Predator even more. Now, with that being said, they would all aboard the new Predator ship, as there is an elder standing there confused. He starts to yell at the Yaoja, asking why these humans have weapons. As Deku has just turned to the elder and just given him a few simple words in their language. We have your weapons because, sir, the Bad Bloods gave them to us. As the elders somewhat confused. Given? Yes. We were taken from young ages, from our planet. Bad Bloods have trained us, I'm not sure why. But we've been surviving and, well, hunting with them for a while. They have been training us in different ways of forms and martial arts, along with the ways of the Yaoja. This elder's not even sure what to do, as he just sees everyone take off their mask and reveal their marks. Along with the fact that he sees all the weaponry Deku has. He sees the spear on his back, he sees the injuries, and he even sees, well, acid burns peeking out from his shirt. As the man would walk over to Deku, Deku is just looking up at this man, towering above him, 3 times to 4 times his size, as he just asks if they've been hunting xenomorphs. Deku would just answer with a yes, which surprises them all. He would just look around, asking how many xenomorphs have they all killed. Everyone would say 1, except for Deku and Mei. Mei taking down 2, and Deku taking down at least, well, I believe 2 or 3. Now then, he would basically just ask what makes them so special then. As Deku, he would just say that they're quirks. Quirks. So you are humans. Well, interesting little challenge, as they would leave the planet. They are now in orbit, as the Elder would just say, "This is not going to bode well. We should not even have you aboard this vessel, let alone alive with our weaponry. But if the Bad Bloods did take you, that means your quirks do have extraordinary potentials." As they would go on listing off all their quirks, which the Yaojai are deeply impressed at. Now, this is whenever one of the men, let's say he was staring at Deku. He is actually an unblooded Yaoja, as Deku would just look at him, and the man would just stare down at Deku, if not just look away from him. Deku would just ask the man what is his problem with him, as the Yaoja would speak up. He says that it's dishonorable the fact that human children have their weaponry, let alone they have access to more of it than even he does. Now, the elder would just immediately turn to him and basically just backhand the man. As he says that is true, yes, but these children are still blooded. They hold more authority than you do. As Deku would just tell the man that it is fine. Set us down to the nearest planet. What? We will have a game. Hunter versus hunter. No weapons. In fact, here, as Deku would just toss him one of his blades. This is actually one of his smallest knives. The Yaoja is confused, as Deku would just say, "If you can hunt him down, I will leave the ship. In fact, we all will." Everyone is just quiet, and the Yaoja's a bit confused. Deku is saying that he can kill him without a weapon, which is true. The fact that this is an unblooded predator means that his training is, well, yeah, that's a bit slacking. But he still does not care. He's young and naive. Now, Deku, he would just go over, saying, if not, just putting into the console one command. If not, pressing enter for the destination. The elders and kind of just standing there confused as to why a human's even doing all this. And he would just look down at Deku, asking for respect, if not demanding it. Deku would just look up at him, as he would just give him a nod. Now, whenever they do get set down on the planet, everyone in the human group is watching as Deku and the Yaoja actually do walk out. The Yaoja is wearing a mask, and he has this knife. Deku has no mask and no knife. As these two do walk into the forest. Now, actually, no, they wouldn't walk into the forest, they're just outside. The Yaoja, he gets ready as he does begin to charge at Deku. Deku immediately just thinking on his feet. He would just dodge to his right as the Yaoja begins to try and slash left and upwards towards Deku's face, if not trying to aim for his throat. Deku would have brought his hands upwards as the Yaoja slashes into them. He actually does try and stab Deku into the arm, and in fact bring it down to his face. As Deku, he would just kick the Yaoja off of him. He would just immediately bring up his arm as the Yaoja sees it actually hardening and turning a bit more scaly. As Deku brings his other hand up, pulling the knife out of it, and the Yaoja watches as he begins to adapt. Deku forming a pair of claws, the Yaoja's a bit more confused. Humans? No. That quirk thing you call them. What is yours? Adaption. I can adapt to any environment you set me in. Now, as Deku would just drop the blade and charge toward the Yaoja, slashing at him, actually slashing at his arms. As that happens, Deku, he would just immediately be punching at his arms as he actually does break the bone in one of them. Now, as that happens, the man would fall over, if not be sent flying into a tree. As Deku runs over and immediately brings his head, well, not his head, he brings his foot up to the Yaoja's head, kicking it into the tree. As he just puts his foot to the man's throat, not slashing it, but stomping down on it, killing him. He then turns around and just looks toward the Elder. The Elder just giving him a small nod, if not just turning to his crew and saying they are staying. Great hunting prowess, along with adaptation. Not many prey can adapt, not as fast as that one. Now, over the next course of the 2 years they are going to be spending with the actual proper Yaoja, they will be learning the rest of the code the Bad Bloods did not teach them. They only instilled the hunt and the basics for survival, and everything they needed. Along with the fact that they did dabble in some of the honor codes that approved of the hunting. But Deku would find the other ones. Like the fact that you do not hunt a prey without a weapon. If it is weaponless, you do not kill. But, he didn't know about that. Which actually does surprise him. As they are all aboard the ship, training. The Yaoja are just watching as these humans are basically doing whatever they can. Some of them are, looking at Yaoja documents, working on their gear, and others are actually working out. As you would see Bakugo and Deku actually just training together, as these two do see each other as proper friends, if not allies. Respecting one another's strength and, knowing their weaknesses. With that being said, you could just see these two basically doing push-ups and actually just one-handed push-ups. As they do basically, I've done it before. It's basically where you do a push-up, and instead of clapping your hands together, you try and clap one hand with the other person. You're supposed to be able to be in perfect unison with them, otherwise you'll hit the ground. It's a very, very bad workout. It requires so much precision in talking with the other person, along with communication. Now, I do want to say, Uraka, she does try working on her quirk. Along with the fact that a lot of the Yaoja who use they do transport heavy equipment, along with the fact that she would be showing off her gravity quirk. basically allowing her to float up into the air and actually just, well, balance on something. If not, trying to at least keep her body weight on a balance so she can improve her agility. Now, that is where I'm going to be leaving things off of, guys. I do hope you enjoyed the video, and I will be going over something in the next part that will be a bit more complicated. So I do hope you enjoyed.